Hi, everybody. This is Dennis McGrath, fifth grade teacher at Brewer Community School. Um, I wanted to share with you my project, which is taking a look at two different technologies. I tried to, at least for the first one, focus on something that we already had in our school, and something that potentially could be new that we could use that is not something that we have readily available. So the first one that I focused on was utilizing digital cameras. This is something that we have at our school, and I've never, I'll be honest with you, in my writing process, I've never used this with my fifth graders. So when I came upon this in our reading, I thought, this would be a really fun activity to try out with a group of younger students. Which I will tell you, the projects that I did where I teach fifth grade, I focused on one third grade class, specifically with four of their students that were willing to stay after school to help me out through this project. Um, and the second one that I decided to look at was a program website called Storybird, which has a lot of different features that are really awesome to be able to use in the classroom with students. So one of the things that has been a little bit challenging for me throughout this course has been that I don't have the experience of working with younger students. And having that mindset of where I would expect a third grader to be, or a second grader, first grader, whatever, compared to my fifth graders. I don't have that experience. So this was definitely an eye-opening activity for me, where, focusing specifically on both, looking at writing. Um, and the first one I decided to look at was digital cameras. Digital cameras is something that we have had in my school since we opened in 2011, and we moved from the various schools in Brewer under one roof. Um, and I thought, this would be a really cool activity to work with kids to kind of go around, snap some pictures, and come up with some sort of a writing project to it. Now, this is how I would structure this if this were something I would be working with kids in a for a long period of time. I'd work on them taking pictures, transferring them over to their Google Drive, and embedding them into a document where they could write a short paragraph on description, describing what they took pictures of. From there, they could, utilize um collaboration with other students and share this with them to get feedback, any specific suggestions they may have, and then finally put it up over the overhead projector to present to their peers. So this is what we got. I handed them the camera and I said, take a few minutes, walk around the school, see what you come up with. And these were the pictures that they wanted to focus on here. So each one of them chose one of them, and because of time constraints, what I decided to do is just have them verbally talk to me about the picture. And I'll be honest with you, it was incredibly adorable to hear what some of these kids had to say. First we had the hallway picture. And this student said, and this was really, really cool because I am a huge stickler in narrative writing about looking at description. And this first one said the hallway was quiet. There were blue lockers that lined the side of the hallway. It was spooky. This was really cool, because usually you get, I saw this, I did that, I see, using a lot of pronouns. And in this case, they went right for the description. The second one here, we have our community of caring wall in our PAC lobby. And this is something that has been a real focal point in Brewer, looking at our community caring standards. And I believe in a previous project I had mentioned these, that we try to look at responsibility, respect, trust, family, caring, and we try to integrate that into our lessons on a regular basis. And this student snapped this picture, and this is what they said. Community of caring means so much. I try to do my best every day because I want to make my mom and dad proud. That was just really, really a nice thing for that student to say. And it shows just how much they value their education. The third one was a picture of the stairwell. And this right here, um, where they say there are a lot of stairs to go down. Usually there's a lot of students in here. It's so empty and alone. And I mentioned to him, I said, so you guys have learned about personification? And no, they had no idea. I said, well, you just got your first experience with it here, where, using the stairwell and saying it was so empty and alone, giving them those human qualities. And the students just brightened right up. And, we focus a lot on figurative language in fifth grade. So, getting students at a younger level to really embrace these types of things is really cool. The last one was um, a picture of some swings. And the student said, we have so much fun on the swings. Some of them are different colors, and you can go really high on them. I love them. Again, really, really strong effort from these students that, we're overcoming a lot of things where, some of them may not have knew who I was. And, doing something new. And I really felt as though if I could transform this into a much longer lesson and be able to work hands-on with them, this would be a really, really interesting project to work on. Now, the next project that I decided to, or the next tool I decided to take a look at was Storybird. So Storybird is an English language arts based website that allows you to choose different illustrations and create comic strips and uh, uh, short story books and poetry. So for me, poetry is one of my favorite things to teach in fifth grade. So I wanted to really focus on that. And Storybird offers the ability to uh, choose a picture and to um, be able to create a story around that picture. And they have thousands of different illustrations that allow you to create, as I had mentioned before, comic strips, picture books, etc. So what I did with these students, and this particular program, and I apologize if you hear dogs barking in the background. The project that I decided to work with my students on was, or these four students that stayed after with me, was to create a 4 to 8 line poem, just something very simple with a rhyme scheme. And I had mentioned, you could have an AABB or an ABAB rhyme scheme, and I explained them. I gave them an example of what that would look like. And I said, let's go through. You can select an illustration, and then together create a poem. Now, I will tell you the one big drawback from this particular website is that it's expensive. So I elected to create an account on Storybird, but when I went to look to see what it would take to get my 22 students on there, the total cost came out to about $730, which in a time of fairly thin budgets, does not seem like something that would be an overly equitable type of uh, subscription to have. So what I did here for this particular thing is I had them go through. Um, I had them go through um, the pictures and chose an illustration, and then they have the ability to add text to it. But what I did is I had them take a look at the picture and create the poem, and then I typed in the poem. Now, this isn't something that would be a realistic thing that you could work on with your kids, because that would be way too much work. Um, However, if you can find the funds for this particular site, this is really cool. Now, I do have a real quick video that I'd like to share with you that is just a 30-second video that kind of tells you a little bit about
Everything you need to know about Storybird in 30 seconds. It's a social storytelling website for grades K to 12. Students can create their own long-form books, picture books, and poems. Students can also co-create stories, allowing them to share ideas and learn how to collaborate. When creating, students choose from a set library of words for poems and art for storybooks. This will inspire some students, but leave others feeling restricted. On the teacher side of things, there are easy-to-use tools for assigning and grading work. Want to know everything else about Storybird? Check out our full review on Common Sense Education. Everything you need to know about Storybird in 30 seconds.
All right. So as I had mentioned prior to this, there are thousands of pictures. And the great thing about this the students had probably about 20 minutes to work together to create this particular poem. They selected this picture as a Christmas Eve night picture, and they decided to write a poem called My Christmas Wish. And now I need to remind you, third graders were able to come up with this. And if I had a fifth grader that came up with this poem, I would be floored. So imagine my surprise and elation that when I saw this. So they said, my Christmas wish is to help those in need. This can be achieved by completing one simple deed. Being selfless, generous, and kind is something we can all have the courage to find. Um, Unbelievable. I just, if you could have this for each of your students to be able to create something like this would be a really, really beneficial program to have. So just as an overview here, taking a look at the uh, two things I decided to research. Obviously, I would recommend both. Digital cameras are definitely a more inexpensive way to incorporate technology into your writing. And, the Storybird section, again, if you can get beyond the cost, for a teacher, I ended up having a code that I could use. So I ended up paying, I think, $35 for a year subscription, but the where they get you is with the student subscription. So, $730 is a little bit of a high price, but the if you could get a group rate on this at your school, this would definitely be something to take a look at. So that is my project. I really appreciate you taking the opportunity and taking the time to give me some feedback on this. I love constructive feedback. I encourage parents to send me constructive feedback all the time, because I feel as though that is how I get how I do a better job. So I hope you all have a wonderful holiday. It was great meeting some of you, and it's great to see some of you that I've already had classes with. So take care.